Hello, hello, hello. You guys, I'm so glad. Bleh. My brain is going faster than my mouth. I'm so happy and glad to be back live with you, and or watching the replay. Memorexy. I have my Star Wars leopard print shirt on. The force is strong with my messy bun, so let's manifest. Okay. So Mercury direct today. Holly effing Luya. Okay, because oh my God, was that not like just crazy? Because and it wasn't just Mercury retrograde. Let's be honest. We had a lot of other stuff. We had eclipses and all this other business that just kind of really brought forward an opportunity for us to kind of look at like what do we value? How are we putting ourselves out in the world? And are we doing it in a way that's so aligned with ourselves and interacting with others that was aligned with who we really are? And now as we come out of this, we can kind of look back at it and go, what did I learn? Because you probably are going to be like, who the hell was that? That was me back in like April, because you're probably not anywhere near who you were then. This version of you is this new, glorious, wonderful version that's ready to get going. But this week's energy is going to be a little wonky, but that's okay if you are watching May 15th, 2023. But the message for this messy bun, we're going to talk about, because I was going to do it last week. It came in the email. If you didn't see the email, that's totally cool. We're going to talk about it today is resistance, because resistance is like the kryptonite for manifesting the stuff that you love and that you want in your life. And sometimes Mercury retrograde and other cosmic things make it more challenging. It doesn't mean you can't do it, but it means that you'll have more things coming up into your world that you might feel resistance to. If you are joining me live, I'd love to hear from you. You can type in the comments. You may need to give StreamYard permission. I should need to put that in there. But anyways, if you do, just go ahead and say hello. Or if you're watching the replay, hashtag replay, and you can ask questions as we go through. But I do want to talk about what is resistance, because I think sometimes we see it and sometimes we don't. And it's those times that we don't that we're kind of in that like baby cranky place that we're just resisting, and we're so deeply in it that we can't see it. So like this past couple of months, I will say like so many things happened, um personally and professionally, and one of them, like, I'll just talk about something really um kind of low key, because I think, there's low key and there's high key, but I'll just talk about low key stuff. Like, we've been waiting for a new couch. Every couch we got, we are two in from this one store who the people there are amazing, but the manufacturer they were using, which they no longer use, made these couches that were horrible. So like our first brand new couch came, it fell apart. So they replaced it with the same model. That one is currently sitting in our living room and is falling apart. So we finally decided to go and they were going to replace the whole thing. And then that, because of things happening in the world, the supply chain still was like a hot mess. So that, and I was just, I was so just, oh my God, I can't sit on this couch one more day and that's resistance right there, right? Like, I'm not focusing on what I want, I'm focusing on the thing that is a pain in my ass. Literally, this couch was a pain in my ass. And so finally I took a breath, because I was like so in the emotion, I couldn't get out of resistance. Because when you're that deeply in your emotion, you're just on this wheel of resistance, because you're just focused on, I can't stand this couch. Every time I sit on it, my back hurts. I feel like I'm sitting in a hole. I hate this. And this was going on for a long time. And I finally said, you know what? Let's play. Let's play. And I stepped out of myself, out of my own way, and I said to myself, okay, what kind of couch do I want? I want one that's firm. Instead of saying, I don't want this one because it's not firm and it's falling apart and all this. Okay, well, what do I want? I want a couch that is firm. I want a couch that's awesome. I want a couch that is so wonderful. It has things that maybe I didn't even know that I wanted, in a color that matches my current living space. And since we are in the process of moving and we don't know where we're going to, that will also match whatever living space we move to. And that is a fabulous couch for us. And that's what we want to do. So I ended up they called us and said, "Hey, your cat," like, and we're talking about we ordered the brand new one, the next new one, different model and everything in January, still isn't here. Finally called and asked what was going on. That's when they explained the supply chain stuff. And I said, okay. Darren and I circled the wagons, had a discussion, and thought, okay, send them an email that says, do you have anything in the warehouse right now that we might could look at that we can get in the next week? Because it sounds like we have no idea when this other is coming. And it's not really like, we kind of were like, here are the two choices when we went, and we just picked the one that we want. It wasn't even a really conscious choice at the time. And so they sent us a couple. We picked one to go see. So we went over the weekend to go see it. And when we got there, and I just intended, I said, whatever couch we're supposed to have, it'll be there. It may be this one. It may not be this one. I am open to whatever it is that you're going to receive, but I will have a couch. And I know you're sending me this new couch in the next week. So we get there and we look at the one that we picked off of the email that the manager sent. And they were just so appreciative. We were not like being screaming Karens, because I just said to them, what's the purpose of that? It stresses me out, stresses you out. None of this is your fault. And I'm just so grateful that y'all are working with us so that we can finally get something, especially since we're moving, that is comfortable and we love. And so we got there, we tested out the couch that we thought we wanted. And it was so squishy, and we were like, I don't think this is one. There was like total contrast there. Like, I thought I wanted this one, but maybe this isn't the one. And so then our sales lady, kind of like just had us all over. And then after we sat on a bunch of them, and we're like, we were being like Goldilocks and the three bears. This one's too hard. This one's too soft. This one is too in the middle. This one is not the color we want, or the fabric we want, or the design we want. It was like so Goldilocks moment. And then finally she said, you know what? We do have one couch that is not in any of the style that you have been looking at, but somebody ordered it. And then because it took so long, same story, it got canceled. They canceled it and took something else. And then, of course, since it was already ordered, it came in and we just have it on the floor. We're going to sell it like a floor model. So we go over, it's the right color. Yeah, it wasn't exactly the right shape that we in our minds had, but since I had opened up to any of this or better, the shape we're like, okay, it's not the shape we thought of, but I like the shape. And then come to find out, it's one of those couches where you press a button and it reclines, and then the seat thingy, the head thingy moves around. Like, I didn't even know that couches did all this stuff. I was like, this is crazy. So, and when we looked at the price, originally it was $2,500, and they had it because it was marked as floor model at 13. So not only did we get the new couch, it's coming tomorrow, it's got all these gizmos on it, but also we now got a $2,500 couch for $1,300 and have like a $650 credit at the store that we can use when we get to our new house to buy another piece of furniture should we need one or want one. So this is what I'm saying when I talk about resistance. When we can figure out when we're resisting, when we're being whiny little bees, bitches, whatever. And then saying, you know what? That's okay. I did my best in that moment. I'm going to realize what I'm supposed to be doing, and which is not being in resistance and just hating on life and whatnot, but rather I'm going to sit here and say to myself, okay, I know what I'm feeling. I don't want to feel this way. I'm going to figure out how I can change it. So let's go through how that works. So what we do really is kind of step into understanding this 3-step process of A, what is going on with this resistance, noticing the resistance, and then B, what are some things that we can do that will flip your script. So I'm just going to really quick pull that up, because I thought I had it pulled up and I didn't, because I wrote it down and now I forgot it. So I'm going to go grab my little notes out of the thing here so that I can walk you through this process, because I think it's really important and I don't want to mess it up. Let's see, campaign there. Okay. Takes a minute. My internet is very slow lately. Here we are. Oop, yep. And here we go. Okay. So we got three ways to identify that kind of resistance. And I just use the couch because it's kind of an innocuous thing. I mean, and this can be used in anything. When you have a family issue, when there's an argument and you don't like what's going on, it might be when you are not getting your way, your manifestation is not showing up when you want it to, that kind of stuff. So, resistance. What are the three ways that you can identify it when you're kind of like in it? So, what has to happen is you have to get to a point where you're paying attention to your thoughts, which means you need to kind of step into observer mode. So, the next time you're cranky about anything, take a minute, take a breath, and get into observer mode so you can pay attention to your thoughts. What am I thinking about the situation? How am I thinking about this? Am I just being all, I don't want to be here. I don't want this happening. I don't want this. Is that the thought process? And is that what's being repeated? Because once we have a thought and it keeps going, you turns into a shit spiral really quick. So what we want to do is not be in that. So you need to be in awareness instead of in the spiral to say, "Oh, that's what's going on." So paying attention to your thoughts and realizing, "Oh, I need to stop this." So then from our thought, we're going to back into our emotion. Why am I thinking this way? What feelings are coming up for me around the situation that are creating these thoughts and these internal dialogues, these inner critic things that are being spoken as we're doing this. So for me with the couch thing, it was like, I hate this couch. It hurts my back. I'm not comfortable. All I want to do is watch my alien shows and be comfy and like, or watch a movie and be comfy and just kind of relax and chill and maybe do something like that, and I can't do it here. Okay, so these are the thoughts that are going through my head. Then I'm like, noticing my emotions. Okay, my emotions are like, I am so frustrated with this. I'm frustrated with the fact that this is the second couch. I'm just frustrated with the situation, and I'm angry, and I'm afraid that it will not be rectified. That's if we're going to boil it down, what am I afraid of? That's creating these frustrating thoughts. And it was, I'm not ever going to be comfortable um in this ever. Or it might have been, we decided to spend the most money we ever spent on a couch before because we were so excited that and proud that we could do that, and it just turned out to be a pile of garbage. And so there was that kind of emotion of fear around, oh my gosh, no matter what we do, I'm afraid it's never going to be enough. Oh my goodness, my fear of not being enough is coming up again, like in big and small ways. Okay, so those are my emotions. And looking for the patterns. It was an ongoing pattern every day because every day, you sit on your couch, right? It's like when you have the most used piece of furniture in your house and that's breaking down. It's like, oh, I'm looking for patterns every time I go there. So, what can I do? And it was just a reminder of the not enoughness thinking. Talk about a couch being a huge sign, right? And so, like, and then looking for patterns. What other things are going on in my life that are in this not enough thing? And what can I do about that? So, just kind of saying, okay, this is triggering this not enough thing. Where else was I feeling not enough? And I kind of went through a list of that and was like, oh wow, okay. So and I'm the kind of person, I'm not just gonna sit in my trauma, sit in my crap where I'm like, oh, that's why I'm going to sit in my problem and be like, oh, I'm going to use this as an excuse to not do something. This not enoughness. Oh, well, I don't feel enough, so I can't do that. No, 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 no. That's not the kind of person I am, and that's not how I teach, and that's not how I want you to be because that doesn't get you anywhere. So, what we do is once you discover what is the core problem going on or the core challenge, let's use it that way. What's the core challenge? In this case, the not enoughness. And so, what are some antidotes to that to loosen up this resistance and flip your script so you can go from resistance to attractor? Okay, so the first thing after you kind of go through that process of paying attention to your thoughts, noticing your emotions, and looking for patterns amongst those things, the way that once you kind of come to the conclusion of that, what we're going to do is we're going to say, first things first, practice self compassion. First of all, instead of jumping into the, oh my God, look at the mess that I made with my emotions and my thoughts, and look all this crap that I manifested, all because, no, that is like the antithesis of manifesting. And when people start selling blame, shame, and guilt and manifesting to scare you or guilt you into thinking positively or to create toxic positivity, that's not what we want here. So, what I want you to do is think about it from the perspective of when you get those first three things where thoughts, notice your emotions, and what are the patterns here, and you come to that realization of what's going on. So instead of beating yourself up about it, I want you to do the opposite, which is not always what we are programmed to do in this society. So instead of beating yourself up, I want you to start practicing self-compassion. So the thing is, it's important to be kind and compassionate to yourself as you work through those experiences and that resistance, because the way you got into resistance was not being compassionate with yourself. Because when you dig it all up and get to the core things is usually fear. And what happens is the resistance comes because we know we're out of alignment when we're in fear, but then we're programmed to beat ourselves up because we're in fear and we know better and all of this wormhole of garbage. So instead, realizing fear and the inner critic and beating yourself up is what got you to the resistance. If that's the case, then being kind and compassionate to yourself is the medicine. So that's the first medicine. And the thing is, it's normal to encounter resistance. That's part of the human experience, part of the contrast that we chose to incarnate as humans, because we're spiritual beings having a human experience. So this is what we want to make sure that we understand, is that it's normal to have resistance. So beating yourself up doesn't get you anywhere. And realize that it's okay to slow down, take things slower so that you can really work through that process of noticing your thoughts, noticing your emotions, and then noticing the patterns to get to the answers that you need. So once you're there, saying, you know what? And I often love to put my hand over my heart and put my other hand over the other and just kind of talk to my heart and be like, okay, I'm going to be kind and compassionate towards myself and loving towards myself in this situation. And heart, can you tell me what would be a great way for me to feel better? And it might be reaching for a higher emotion. It might that feels better, even if it feels like in your mind, because when talking about the heart, your heart and your mind, if you've ever seen those cartoons, the heart's like, la, 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 and the mind's like, what are you doing? But this is one of those times where you're going to have to say, going to put my thought process into my heart zone. And my heart says, if I'm in fear, love is the answer. So, what is another emotion that I can reach for that makes me feel better so that I'm not in fear anymore, and I can be more towards joy? And what things can I do within my control that will make me feel them? So, like today, for example, today is feeling kind of wonky. It's in that Mercury went direct, which is awesome. But you still have that, you're still in shadow. So there's still this kind of wobble going on that you're still not totally clear on the things you want to do and where you want to go. But the fact is that you are kind of more on your way. And we might get a little of frustration in there because we can't get 100% there just yet. So what am I going to do? Well, a friend of mine who I'm in a group with, and these dear friends of mine, over the weekend, she was like, "Hey, can you check out the layout for my email sequence with this sweary coloring book that I'm doing? And you can have the sweary coloring book for free because you're helping me figure out the technology here." And I will be sharing all that later. With a video and stuff, because my thought was, because I was feeling so wonky, I have my to-dos today. One of them is like, hey, finally getting to share this video. And then once I get my to-dos done, I'm going to color. I'm going to color a sweary mandala coloring page. And I am very excited about it because I know, feeling a little frustrated with not being able to move forward with our house selling, with some ideas for how I want to get some stuff done. Like I have the idea, but how to get it done for the, sharing on social, all the manifestation stuff that I want to share and all of the facets that go in it and the reels and all the things. It's very overwhelming and kind of goes, oh my gosh, this is overwhelming me. And it muddles my head of how to do it. And the energy isn't helpful to help that clearing right now. But one of the ways that find that can put me into a higher vibrational state, if I'm going to say I want to reach for a better emotion because I'm noticing my thoughts are getting in the frustrating area. I'm noticing my emotions are getting in the frustrating area. And what are the patterns here? I keep running into walls and bumping up against things. So, what is something I can do that will make myself feel better? Well, being creative helps me feel better. So, to me, what that looks like, and everybody is different. Everyone's different. I find creativity in the kitchen, in my herbal mixtures, and doing kind of coloring stuff. So today I'm probably going to mix up a batch of because Buddy came home. Buddy, the puppy of light, came home with ticks all over him. Oh my gosh, he went to go walking in the meadow. Every time he went to go walking in the meadow, he came home with a tick. So I am mixing up. My friend Kesley posted this wonderful natural. Uh, anti-tick for safe for pets spray with like essential oils and some other things that I'm going to mix up a batch. That's one of my creative things. And I'm going to color on my sweary coloring page. And I know that this will raise my vibration. And I'll put some music on and sing along, maybe some Broadway show tunes. I don't know. But these are the kinds of things that I'm saying. What is within my control that I can make, that I can do that will move my energy from where it's feeling yucky to feeling better. And sometimes it has nothing to do with the thing you don't feel good about because you need to remove yourself from that situation. So there's that kind of stuff. So practicing self compassion and allowing yourself that space to figure out what is it that I can do within my world that will make me feel better. I highly recommend finding a creative outlet, and that's one of the things. The next thing might be using positive affirmations. So this morning I started posting, and I have to go dig them all up because I used to have all these affirmation cards that I developed years ago. But I had this idea, and I thought, oh, I'm going to create a meditation minute on Mondays. And I thought found the ones that I really liked um, out of the ones that I kind of immediately saw this morning, I put up there the morning meditation is inhale, it is safe for me, and exhale to give myself grace. I'll repeat that. So when you inhale, it is safe for me, exhale to give myself grace. And I always say to kind of do those kinds of little positive affirmations. Take a moment. So I'm going to try and dig up all the cards so I can start posting them on Mondays to help in this vein. So if you're feeling resistance throughout the week, you can go either to my Facebook or maybe my other thought, like this is what I mean when I have an idea and then there's like 40 follow-up thoughts. And one of them was like, I'll make a reel. And how do I do that? I've never done that before. I don't know. So all of this stuff, again, little resistance where I'm like, oh my God, that's overwhelming. Do I have the technology? What can I do here? I don't know how to make graphics, all of this business. So sitting down and saying, practicing self compassion, right? Because I just noticed having all these emotions and it's kind of scary. So looking for the patterns. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm enough yet again, right? So practice, you are enough. You're more than enough. You have all the stuff going on that you need, right? Use positive affirmations. It is safe for me to give myself grace in this experience, even with the reels, even with the little post that I just made that says the exact same thing. Maybe there's another affirmation that you love that you can put on a post-it note and put on your bathroom mirror, put on your desk, on your computer screen, wherever you need it to kind of help you flip that script. And then the last thing is taking inspired action because doing something, that's what like I've said, doing something within your control. We're not talking about taking inspired action and calling your friend and saying, hey, do you want to go to the movies and getting upset if they say no? If that's your outlet, you just go to the movies or you pop in a video, or rather these days, I just dated myself horribly. Put on your favorite streaming channel and stream a movie. So taking inspired action can look like many different things. Like I said, one of the creative things that I like doing is playing with my herbal remedies or cooking. Like I'm totally kitchen witchy. So my thing is later today when I get my stuff done, my inspired action is going to be creating like this anti-tick remedy to spray on my puppy's paws for when he goes walking out in the meadow. And then I'm going to color my sweary coloring page to make, and all of this is to do things that make me feel better, right? So step one in flipping your script and resistance is to practice self compassion. Step two is using a positive affirmation or a positive thought to make that flip. And then the last thing is taking inspired action so you're physically embodying that flip. So, the last thing, kind of a bonus thought around this, is instead of thinking to yourself, I was naughty and I was resisting, or I was manifesting crappy things and being all blamey and shamey, one of the ways that I have found that was kind of like a for me was when somebody said, you know what, you've been practicing resistance. Like when we think about it, it's like we practice meditation, we practice our yoga, we practice, like everything is a practice, right? There's never a done. There's just a practice. And a practice can shift. So if that's the case, and we look at it from like when we start seeing evidence that we are practicing resistance, like things aren't going right, everything feels like you're pushing it uphill. I don't know why I can't get this done. Why does this feel so icky? And all of a sudden you start noticing. You notice your thoughts, you notice your emotions, you notice the patterns. Instead of beating yourself up and being like, oh man, look at all this crap that I've manifested. That's terrible. And then dwelling in that, say, you know what? I just realized I was practicing resistance, which means that once I notice it, I can choose to practice attraction. I can choose to practice the positive thoughts that I want. I can choose to practice self compassion instead of resistance. I can choose to practice with my affirmations that I wrote that make me feel better about the situation or just in general. And I can choose to practice active attraction by doing my inspired action. So, what I would love for you to do is if you have a journal, you can even do this. What you can do is sometimes if you're feeling really crunchy, that's what I call it when you're like, ugh, really crunchy, sit down, take a breath, and write out, what am I thinking about the situation right now? Like, what is the situation? What's the situation I'm upset about? And what am I thinking about that? And just nobody's going to see it but you. I mean, unless you want to call me and we do a session, then we might talk about it. But other than that, and I'm not going to judge you because I have my shit going on. I get it. So it would only be you or me, or probably just you. Just write down, what am I thinking about the situation that's making me feel so crunchy and icky? What emotions are coming up for me about this? And then what patterns am I noticing? Like if in those emotions, not the situation, but the with thoughts and the emotions, what other things are those tied to? Is there a pattern here? Is it like it boils all down to I'm not enough, or there's not enough, or some kind of fear based thing? And then flipping that script and saying, oh gosh, I am practicing resistance in a big way. Not beating myself up. I'm just realizing I'm practicing this resistance and I want to choose to practice attraction. So, what would that look like for me? Well, I'm going to first practice some self compassion right out the gate. It's okay for me to practice resistance because I was doing my best and that's what I had in the moment. And that needed to happen so I could process that emotion. And now I'm going to process it through self compassion. And that way, I know it's okay for me to do this. Then I'm going to use some positive affirmations. It is safe for me to practice grace in this moment. And it's safe for me to practice attraction. It's okay. Nobody else is going to lose out if I'm attracting stuff for me. I want to feel better about the situation. So I'm going to practice attraction. I'm going to use affirmations that do that. And the inspired action is I'm going to look at those affirmations and see where can I implement those under my own control in my life right now so I can feel better. What are some things I can go do? It might be go for a walk in nature, go to an art museum, go have an ice cream cone or a smoothie. Whatever is going to shift your energy. It doesn't have to be related to that situation, but it is related to the energy around the situation. What do I need to do to shift my energy that is within my control that I can do in the physical world that will make me feel better? Because the goal of manifesting is not manifesting the stuff. The goal of manifesting is to be a high vibe energy carrier and knowing and being in awareness when you're not and being empowered to shift. That's what manifesting is. It's creating the energy within yourself that attracts the things you want, but it's not about the things. It's not about the things. It's about the energy. Okay. So that's what today is about. What is resistance? How do I identify it? How do I identify how to fix it? And how do I shift it? So I hope this video helps you. I hope that this week's um, energy will support the opportunity for you to kind of give it one last look. Like I always talk about when, if you're watching in May of 2023, we're in that Mercury retrograde shadow. So it's kind of like the end credits of the movie. So the pre is the trailer, during is the movie, and the end is the credits where you're kind of like every once in a while you get like a little, like if you watch a Marvel movie, like they kind of throw a mini trailer in there and they're like, hey, did you watch the movie? Do you see the connections here? Did you do the things? So that you kind of have that wrap up right now. And oh, and this week, just so you're aware, if you're watching this, whether it's in May or in the future, the fact is that we have a new moon coming up this Friday, which is May 20th, right? Where am I? Today is the 15th. Oh, so it's the 19th. My bad. So there's a full moon on the 19th. That means the Thursday evening before is a new moon circle. So we're going to have a new moon circle for the new moon on the 18th at 6 p.m. in Zoom. There's a link to the events page here in the description. So if you want to join me for that new moon gathering, we're going to do a grounding meditation. We're a new moon in Taurus. So lots of earth, lots and lots of earth, which means manifesting into the being. We're talking about bringing that shit in, bring that goodness in. So we're going to do a grounding meditation. We're going to talk about what exactly this new moon's energy is, and then setting some really great intentions that because of this energy, there is that extra support here. It's not just a regular new moon where it's like, yeah, we set some intentions based in the energy. This Taurus stuff is really grounded in values. Like, and when we ground, there's white papers about when you ground your intentions and your personal values, that they are more likely to come to be because you already kind of are pre-programmed to take that inspired action towards those values to make those manifestations happen. So if you want to join me for this new moon gathering, it will happen on Zoom, 6 p.m. Central Time on Thursday, May 18th. If you are watching this at some point in the future, I do new moon and full moon gathering circles every month. So just check the events tab to see when the next one is happening. If you're watching this in a more timely fashion of it's the week of May 15th, please join me. I would love to see you there and support you. It's always nice, especially when we're talking about Taurus, which is all about the cozies and kind of just all about the warms and the yumminess in the earthly pain, in our human being experience. It's so important for us to take time out for ourselves, especially after all this big wonky emotions that came through, where there was big shifts and big releases, to kind of just say, okay, the ground and the soil has been tilled and fertilized. So what are we planting? And taking that time out of the busy schedule to have a really thoughtful and conscious intention setting session that is all about you. So I hope to see you in that new moon circle on the 18th of May at 6 p.m. Central. Registration links are in the description. And if you have any other questions, hit hashtag replay so I know to come back and look at them. And other than that, I will see you in the vortex, and I will be doing my show. Hopefully, if the things work, I'm trying to get the YouTube link fixed to be able to stream live on YouTube again. Otherwise, it'll be Memorex, kind of like this, until that happens. But either way, I'm getting it done. So I love you so much. I'm not resisting. I'm going with the flow. We're going to color. We're going to herbal up some stuff this afternoon for like flea and tick protection for the puppy. You go out and do something creative that makes you feel good, or experience things that make you feel good, and shift that energy and practice this and let me know how it goes. Practice these tools and let me know if it helps you like flip your script in resistance. If you like this video, make sure you give me a thumbs up or a heart or whatever is there on the platform you're watching. And if you're watching on YouTube, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel at Soul Coach Studio and for more of these kind of videos. I love you so much. Have a great rest of your week. And we're doing the messy bun manifesting, because manifesting doesn't always happen in a neat and tidy fashion. I love you so much. Have a great week. Bye-bye, y'all.